The stale, fluorescent hum of the warehouse was usually a comforting drone, a lullaby for the lonely hours. For 10 years, I'd navigated its cavernous aisles, the rhythmic clatter of forklifts, and the scent of cardboard and plastic my only companions. Tonight, though, felt different. A prickle on the back of my neck, a whisper of unease I couldn't quite shake. It was 2 a.m., the deep, quiet hour when the outside world truly sleeps. I was consolidating a shipment of industrial cleaning supplies, the towering stacks of bleach and disinfectant, a sterile landscape. That's when I saw him. Standing at the far end of aisle 7, where the industrial solvents were kept, was a figure. He was impossibly tall and unnaturally thin, draped in a suit so dark it seemed to absorb the very light around it. He wasn't moving, just standing there, a silhouette against the muted gray of the shelves. I blinked and he was gone. "Must be tired," I muttered, rubbing my eyes. The warehouse could play tricks on you in the dead of night. I went back to my task, but the image of the man in black lingered. A few minutes later, as I passed aisle 7 again, he was there. Same spot, same pose. This time, he slowly raised a hand, beckoning me. His movements were jerky, unnatural, like a marionette with tangled strings. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a trick of the light. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking, and fumbled to open the camera app. By the time I pointed it at the aisle, he was gone. Again. A primal fear, cold and sharp, began to twist in my gut. I called my supervisor, Dave. He was a gruff but decent man, usually unfazed by my occasional warehouse ghosts. "Dave, I'm seeing something. In aisle 7, a tall guy in a black suit. He's motioning me over." Dave sighed, his voice thick with sleep. "You sure you're not just seeing things, Mark? It's been a long night." "No, Dave, I'm sure. He was there twice, and he's gone both times." He promised to take a look, but I knew he wouldn't find anything. The figure was a phantom, a whisper in the industrial concrete. Dave arrived, his flashlight beam cutting through the dimness. We scoured aisle 7, then the adjoining ones. Nothing. Not a shadow, not a misplaced box. "See, Mark, nothing here. Probably just the late-night jitters," Dave said, clapping me on the shoulder. But his eyes held a flicker of something I'd never seen before, a subtle unease. I tried to shake it off, but the feeling persisted. Every shadow seemed to lengthen. Every creak of the building sounded like a footstep. I kept seeing him in my peripheral vision, a fleeting glimpse of black against the uniform gray. Around 4 a.m., I was deep in the receiving bay, the massive bay doors casting long, distorted shadows. And there he was again, closer this time at the edge of the light. He wasn't just beckoning anymore. He was pointing directly at me, his skeletal finger impossibly long. Then his head slowly tilted to the side, an unnatural, sickening crunch accompanying the movement. That's when I screamed, a raw, terrified sound that echoed through the vast emptiness. Dave came running, his face pale. I tried to explain, but the words wouldn't come. The figure was gone, as always. Dave insisted I go home. He said he'd finish up. I didn't argue. I fled the warehouse. The image of that tilted head burned into my mind. The next day, I learned that Dave hadn't made it home. He'd been found by the early shift, slumped over his desk, his neck at an impossible angle, just like the figure in the warehouse. The cause of death was ruled as a sudden, catastrophic spinal injury. But I knew, and I knew the man in black was still out there, waiting in the lonely, silent spaces for his next beckoning. Welcome to the Acula Files. Did you really think you were safe just because the lights were on? He waits in the shadows, the lonely places, and he's always beckoning. Sleep tight,